again, Mr. Jonathan Martin, for joining us here on Dinner and Dialogue.
I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's again my first time back in the restaurant for, I don't know, almost 3 years now.
Really?
So,
that long?
Yes, it's been a while. It's been a while. So I'm excited. I wanted to bring someone who may be a little familiar to the Atlanta community. He's kind of a boomerang, born and raised.
Yeah, born and raised here in Atlanta. And it's funny because people ask, are you really from Atlanta? I'm like, yeah, I was really born and raised in Atlanta. Grew up here, went to elementary, middle school, high school, and then left for college in my career. And then after some years, have finally made my way back.
Okay. So being that you are a journalist, right? What was your first opportunity to be in this space?
Well, I guess professionally after college, but I would say before then, 5th grade, I was a part of OK News. I went to Oak Knoll Elementary School here in Atlanta, and we had tryouts for the morning announcements, which we actually did on closed circuit TV. So
nice.
All the classrooms would turn on their TV, and we had tryouts, and I made it. And I did that every morning, and I said, this is what I want to do. I knew that I enjoyed speaking, I enjoyed asking questions, I enjoyed production type stuff, plays and stuff like that. But when I did that, I said, this is what I want to do. I enjoy the news part of it.
Okay. Now, have you ever aspired to do anything outside of journalism or the way that you do it currently?
It's funny because I'm one of those people who knew from a young age what I want to do, and I've always been like laser focused. So from middle school to high school, yearbook staff, doing the morning announcements, taking classes, going to meet the journalists at Channel 2 and Channel 11 when I was young. I knew what I wanted to do. I mean, I have other interests, of course, right? Like I play sports and things like that, but I knew what I wanted to do. So I'm kind of that guy who became who I always wanted to be.
Okay, and that's good, and that's a rare thing, right?
Yeah. Most of us, we switch like majors 2 or 3 times, or we go into doing this or that, which is cool too.
But
absolutely. It allowed me to sort of really be focused on what I wanted to do and just really perfect my craft, if you will.
Okay. Was there anyone in particular that you aspired to be like, someone who was kind of like your North Star when it came to?
Well, growing up, I thought Monica Kaufman, she's now Monica Pearson, was the end all be all, and she is.
Yes.
But I just loved how confident she was. I loved that she kind of had her own flair. She just spoke with such authority, but also gave you that hometown, but mother feel.
Absolutely.
And so I grew up seeing her on TV because at that time there were not a lot of people who looked like us on television. There were some, but on that anchor chair prime time, Monica was Atlanta, and Atlanta loved Monica. So I ended up being able to intern for her, under her later on years, when I was a senior in college, and it was just like a dream come true. Somebody had watched and studied all these years. Now I was interning next to her.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a big thing. I love Monica, by the way.
She's great. She's one of a kind, right?
Yeah, she's like the Atlanta darling, right? I mean, she's done amazing work.
And she's still working. She's still going. And I love that she really never stopped. I know she took some time to retire, that she went to get, another degree at UGA, but she has continued to move and shake in Atlanta.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now, I know that this was always part of who you wanted to be. You know, what were some of the challenges that you faced in this industry? Because, being one of the few, at that time, I would imagine, black male journalists.
I think just, a lot of times in this industry, especially when I first started, there were not an abundance of black men in news, in different stations. Thank you. And I would always feel like sometimes we were all competing for that one slot. So sometimes when there was an opportunity to work at a certain station or a certain space, you had to almost be the best to get that one slot. I felt like that in Nashville and a couple of cities that I worked in, as opposed to feeling like, hey, I can be good. No, I've got to be the best to get this one slot, because now we see black folks everywhere, right? And there's sometimes 5 of us in a certain station, 10 of us. But back when I started, 15, 20 years ago, it wasn't like that.
Right. And one of the things that I found so amazing, and I think I'll be able to send you a message about this, is to see 2 black anchors on the desk reporting the news. It's just always a great and a positive feeling to see that, right? Because we've had it in a couple of spaces before, but just to see, 2 young, powerful, intelligent, dynamic people reporting the news and telling us what's going on in the country is amazing.
I appreciate that. That means a lot. It's a blessing to be able to do it, and I love the fact that in Atlanta, it's not looked at as something. You got 2 black folks on the anchor desk,
right?
And I remember when I worked in a previous city, back in Nashville, actually, where I remember it was never a written rule, but it was almost this unspoken rule that two black people were never going to be on the desk together, and two white people could, but not two black people.
Right.
And I remember just feeling like, wow, why am I not being chosen to fill in here and to fill in there, even though I'm the obvious person the next in line, but sometimes it was just looked at as a weird thing. And I love the fact that in Atlanta and really across the country, you're seeing that it's common to see two intelligent black folks doing the job, and anybody else can, be up there as well, but like, it's nothing wrong with having two blacks.
That's right. And being that there's so much going on and so much has gone on since the pandemic, how do you have a balance, or you strike that balance between what's needed to be reported for the news, and then trying to, hold on to your own opinions about that?
Yeah, I think I always try to stay objective as I can, because obviously that's my job, right? I'm not there, I don't work for an opinion-based network where we get to just give our opinions on every story. But I think that we all do have opinions, and I think that George Floyd was an example when I was working in Houston at the time, and that was all happening. And even though I have to report the news, I also, as a black man, am a part of what people are feeling and a part of that story. And I don't have to act like, oh, wow, I have to be totally removed from this story. And my bosses at the time actually said, like, hey, it's okay for you to interject some of what you're feeling, what your friends are feeling, what your brothers are feeling, because that is part of this reckoning and this story that we're all covering. Right. So I think people do want a little bit more of that humanity. So I've learned that certain times I need to just report the news, cover the story, and other times it is okay to insert and interject your thoughts and opinions, but on certain stories when appropriate. So I try to really strike a balance.
Right. Speaking of that balance, I know that you do other things outside of your career. And, people may know, if they follow you on Instagram, some of the things that you love to do. This guy is a remarkable dancer, by the way. I know that you may have you ever done Dancing with the Stars? I
did the Houston version of Dancing with the Stars, and I won that some years back.
Okay, of course you won. Now, I know that there's other things that you're passionate about as well within the community that you've done over the years, and especially in Houston with, Sweat Texas and Beyond the Game, I believe.
Oh, wow, you did.
Well, you have to do your homework.
Yeah.
These things, right?
You know my stuff. I'm like, I forgot I did these things.
Yeah, so I know that, with obesity being a big thing in Georgia, I think we're like 14th in the country. And I think with childhood obesity, it's like 37.3.
Yeah, like I think 1 in 3 kids in Georgia, also in Texas, is considered obese. Yeah. And it's something we don't often talk about because we think we got other problems, but like, attacking the health at a younger age is so important, and that is one of my biggest passions, like health and wellness. I tell people sometimes I feel like I'm more passionate about that these days than sometimes journalism.
Right, and it's evident if you ever follow him on Instagram. It's evident that he is passionate about the workout, the being fit, and all those things. That there's something that you're planning on doing in the Atlanta community around fitness, being that now you're back and you're such a passionate guy about these things. Is there something that you may be thinking about?
Yeah, I do want to bring some of the initiatives that I started in Houston and maybe bring some of those to Atlanta. In fact, that's some of the things I've been talking about, because that is what I feel like is universal, right? Sometimes we pick causes that really just affect one person or one group, or and I feel like health and wellness is something, especially in the black community, that we don't talk about enough. And I'm not just talking about when I say health and wellness, I'm not just saying going to the gym, because everyone's not going to go to the gym, but we can focus on overall health, what we're eating, reminding men to go get checked for different cancers like prostate cancer that disproportionately affects our community. So I get really passionate about those things, and that's what I really want to focus on, because I've always believed that we have this amazing platform as journalists, right? We're on TV every day. We get to meet all these different types of people, work with different organizations. How are you using that space, that platform, to create impact? And that's what I want to do, impact. I don't want to just be on the news and put on a nice suit and read and go home. No, I'm like, what am I doing with this time, this space, and this platform?
Right. And I know that when you're on camera, you always have to be on, right? You always have to be cognizant of what you're saying, how you look. How does Jonathan unwind, kind of relax? I can imagine fitness, right, being one of them. Yeah. But how do you just kind of relax and just take a break and unwind and self-reflect? And
I believe that I always tell people being a news anchor is what I do, but it's not who I am. Right. I'm Jonathan. I'm a kid from the south side of Atlanta who loves to dance, who loves to work out. I love my family. I love to travel. And those are the things that center me and keep me grounded. I think sometimes a lot of news people get so focused on being in the news, doing news, covering it. Even when they're off, they're consumed by every little text that comes in. I'm like, nah, I'm able to separate myself because that is what I do, but it's not who I am. So I love finding other ways to unwind, whether it be with my friends and loved ones, or just kind of having some alone time and just saying, all right, I'm turning off my phone for the night. I'll pick up the news tomorrow.
Okay. All right. Good. So I have a little game. I like to play. And usually some people say rapid fire, but during the pandemic, I'm a creative, right, by nature. And I created a game called Not That Answer.
Not That Answer.
Not That Answer. Essentially how it goes is that someone picks a card and you ask the question, and instead of you answering the question as it's written, the person embellishes a bit and kind of put their own spin on the question, and then you have to answer that question. But the way we're going to play it this time, Ben.
Okay, you're gonna have to give me an example because I'm like, wait, let me think of what's going on here.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you pull a card, and
okay, I'll pull one.
Pick a card, any card, like I'm a dealer.
So do I read it or do you?
No, you give it to me and I'm gonna read it.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're gonna see what's that. When was the last time you said that you loved someone other than your family member?
Probably earlier this week. I have a really close friend. I said I love you too. Yep.
Good. When do you feel most proud to be you?
When do I feel? That's such a good question. When do I feel most proud to be me? I think, and I know this may sound cliche, but just really when I'm home in Atlanta around my family. I think just because it's something special about being with people who know you for who you are and what you are before, not a title, not for what you represent, but like who you really are. And so I feel like I'm my most authentic self around my family, my brothers, and I'm proud of who I am outside of what I've done. And I think that's sort of the thing. I like who I am, and they know who I am versus not what I've done.
Okay. Black Lives Matter or All Lives Matter?
That's a good question. I think a lot of people have gotten in trouble for saying all lives matter because all lives do matter, but I don't think we can ignore the plight, the specific needs, the specific situations that Black people, I'll just say the specific needs of our people. I don't think you have to always separate. But I think in certain situations, I didn't like, for example, during the racial reckoning, George Floyd, people are like, all lives matter. Yeah, all lives do matter, but let's focus on what the situation is here and what the needs are currently for people who look like us. Right.
Do you cook or do you?
So I'm a air fryer kind of dude, and I also do a lot of whole foods, not the store, but I like to, a piece of salmon, some potatoes, some broccoli. Like I'm more of like individual one ingredient foods. So I'm not one of those people that can whip up some kind of big old casserole, but when it comes to like my little dishes that I do, I'm good. What about you?
Yeah, I cook.
Okay, yeah, you seem like, I know you looking at me like.
Don't let this slim frame fool you. I like to eat. I do like to eat, and I know that you have at least about 5 meals a day, if I can remember.
Yeah, wow, I do usually average 4, sometimes 5, but I try to just eat a lot, but eat healthy, obviously, as much as I can. So try to have a nice, clean breakfast, and at least eat 3 more times. Well, sometimes one of those meals is a protein shake, so it's not like I'm eating 4 big,
right.
situation meals.
Yeah, you'll eat those lamb chops though. I see that.
I eat lamb. That is one of my biggest, because sometimes you get tired of chicken and fish and turkey, and so the lamb chops it's like a good medium between I don't really do steak or a lot of pork, so it's that good medium where you feel like you're getting meat without doing the beef. Maybe some kind.
Well, that's good because I do the same thing, and I kind of try to balance it a little bit, try to eat as clean as possible. But I do like to get my protein. I'm big on lamb. I do like a lamb burger or
lamb burgers are good,
something like that. Lamb spaghetti using ground lamb. So that's something I like to indulge
lamb's a good. Lamb's a good alternative if you want to kind of just get away from chicken or fish or turkey for sometimes. I know that's what a lot of people tend to eat. So.
Okay. Cool. As far as your favorite meal to cook. Is there something that is a go-to?
Well, to cook, there is a dish that was passed down in my family. It's a seafood quiche. don't know if you eat quiche much.
Yeah.
So I know how to make it, and it's amazing. I don't do it a lot because it is kind of, it's a lot that goes into it, but it has shrimp, it has crab, it has cheese, it has onions, of course, flour and eggs and things like that. Okay. But it's made from scratch, and my aunt made it, my grandmother made it, now my mom makes it, and I made the recipe too. But it's a seafood quiche, and it's really good. And so when I make it, or when somebody in my family makes it, it just reminds me of family and family tradition.
That's good. I like that. We have a few traditions in our family.
Oh, really?
As well, that
what is that?
Like typical.
Well, you can say macaroni and cheese.
No, my mom makes amazing oyster dressing.
Oh, that's not typical. Not typical.
Well, I'm finding out that more and more people are doing that.
Yeah, I don't think that would be. I thought you were gonna say, if you said sweet potato pie or a pound cake, like that's just the bottom.
Yeah, that's true. But she does it amazing.
Oyster dressing. Wow, yeah.
Which she does the smoked oysters, and it's a whole thing.
See, I love oysters. I love them like cooked though, but I mean, a lot of people, they just do not fool with oysters, which is interesting. Actually, there's oysters on this menu. I think there's I was thinking about actually adding them to my salad, just depending on how they're cooked.
Really?
Yeah, but a lot of people, I think a lot of people don't like the texture. But I think when they're cooked, the fact they're a little more chewy.
Yeah. A lot of people, when you say oysters, they think automatically on the half shell raw, and sometimes they have to try out like Rockefeller, charred oysters.
Charred grilled.
Amazing.
Those are great, and I lived in New Orleans for a couple years before Houston, and that's why I kind of fell in love with oysters and seafood. Seafood is my favorite type of food, period.
Yeah.
So when I can get some clam strips, some oysters, shrimp, crab, I'm good. I will always, if there's something like that on the menu, I will always go for it.
Okay. It sounds like you've traveled a bit. Do you have a favorite destination or a destination that you aspire to go to?
My favorite place I've been has been Cape Town, South Africa.
Oh, wow.
I went there some years ago, and I just fell in love. I mean, granted, it's not Nigeria, it's not, Kenya, but it is still Africa. And I enjoyed being there and just really feeling connected with the motherland. And I love the food, I love the people, I love the vibe. It's beautiful. There's nice beaches there in South Africa that people may not think about. But two other places I've loved have been Colombia and Thailand as well. So I love to travel. COVID kind of shut it all down, and I haven't really gotten, my travel engine going again, but I love to travel.
Yeah, same here. I was just recently, I just went to Puerto Vallarta a couple of months ago.
Yeah, PV is always nice.
Yeah, that was just a quick getaway, but prior to that I had gone to Paris for work. But I also aspire to go to some of the places that you mentioned.
Yeah.
Phuket, Thailand.
I've been to Thailand. It's so amazing, and it's just, I mean, the beaches, the food, the Thai massages, the Thai food. Also, they have like a lot of custom tailors over there. So if you want to, so people ask me, where do you get your suits from? 90% of my suits are custom from Thailand, and I still get mine. Yeah, I still get mine. When you go over there, they make them, and they usually only cost about $200-300, and you pick out the fabric, they measure you, and I still have my tailor today, and I just reach out to him via email. He'll send me the fabrics he has, I'll order them, he'll ship them, and you save so much money. So that's a plug for anybody looking for the suits. Go to Thailand and get you somebody to know your measurements.
I'm gonna get that number. But I do like suits as well, but I did find a nice suit boutique here in Atlanta.
Really?
Rich Man Looks. It's in Buckhead.
Okay.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, when you find a good tailor that does good work, even you don't mind paying a little more if you know that suit. It's just something about a custom suit when you wear it. You're gonna be the only one in that room with that suit on. It's gonna fit you, and you feel more confident, I think, in something. And granted, it is a little bit more of an investment than some people are willing to make. But when you get a good custom suit, there's nothing like it.
Right. So do you often find yourself wanting to be a part of the fashion kind of world a bit?
Not really.
Do you do any of that?
Not really. No, I just enjoy. I do enjoy having nice suits. It's funny because when I'm not in a suit at work, I'm in sweats and a ball cap.
Yeah.
And you see me at the gym, I'm just in regular clothes. I'm not a guy who's just walking around Atlanta, walking around the mall or grocery store dressed up. I'm very much a chill ball cap and sweats kind of guy. And even on the news, I want to present myself well, but I'm not that guy that fashion is my thing necessarily.
Yeah. So if you were not doing journalism, what do you think you would will be doing?
You know, I told you I really have a passion for health and wellness. And I feel like that's where I even find myself leaning sometimes. I've been quietly training a couple of people on the side, just some friends. I've helped them lose weight. One of my friends lost 15 pounds. Another person has lost about 15 or 20 pounds, gotten in great shape, and they both are like, thank you, just motivating people. So I feel like that's one of my passions these days. So I don't know if it'll turn into something I do more as a side hustle or full-time maybe eventually, but I see myself if doing anything with that. And people say, did you ever want to dance? Like, I enjoy that, but it's more of a passion and a hobby as opposed to something I ever wanted to like pursue as a career when I was younger.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
cool.
I don't know. I think so, yeah.
Do you think so?
I think so. I'm like, some days I get up, I'm like, that would be cool to, be on tour with Chris, have been on tour with Chris Brown and somebody, but
I can totally see you.
But also, I'm like, I enjoy the consistency of what I do too.
Yeah.
I love his music. He's in my top 5 artists. But whenever you say it, you get like mixed reaction because I think. But I always tell people I can separate the person from the music. Right. I love his music. I mean, his albums are usually playing when I'm at the gym. Yeah. So I mean, I like Breezy.
His music is a bop. I mean,
yeah.
It's nice.
So I kind of just say but like if I say it in front of my brothers, they're like, oh, they're not big fans of his.
Oh, really?
More the person.
Yeah.
But I think as a performer and a musician, I don't think you can take that away from him.
What does June 8th mean to you?
Oh, yeah. So June 8th is a day in Houston. So you really did your research. I was given my own day in the city of Houston last year, and it was just a blessing. As I was leaving the city, the mayor, the congresswoman, and some of the city leaders designated that as a day for me. And I was just so honored. I mean, Houston was a place that I went there, as I told people, knowing one person, and left there with sort of this army of supporters and friends to last a lifetime. And the city just wrapped its arms around me and allowed me to do so many things, and I was able to give to it, and it gave so much to me. So I got my own day, and I guess that was a special thing. It was really special.
Right. That's awesome, and that's not everybody gets their own day.
I was grateful for that.
So that's good. So as someone who may be looking to get into journalism or do some of the things that you've done, even in the community, what would be some of the best advice you can give someone who's looking to aspire to be either a journalist or in the public eye?
I would say work on everything, your whole package. I think a lot of times people as journalists tend to just focus on one aspect. Maybe it's their writing, maybe it's just their voice, maybe it's their physical appearance. And I think it's important to be that guy or that girl who can do it all. And I think that's something I prided myself on, just being someone who can do multiple things well. And I think you make yourself more marketable by being able to do several things. When you can write, when you can shoot, when you can edit, when you can speak well, when you are involved in your community, people see you as being more valuable than the next person. So I always tell a lot of my mentees, make sure you're well-rounded and not just someone who is good, a good writer, which is super important because people think we as journalists just read the teleprompter, but there's a lot of writing that goes into what we do, and a lot of knowledge that we have to have.
What would you want your legacy to be?
Oh, that's such a great question. And it's funny because my dad is always preaching that to me and has preached that to me and my brothers, like, make sure you're leaving the legacy. And I think that that's so important. And I want to be someone who continues to inspire and empower people. I'm really big on seeing people at their best. I don't ever want to walk by someone or be in a space where I have the capacity to encourage or empower someone and not do that. When I was in Houston, I started Beyond the Game, which is a program to encourage young men of color to dream big, whether that dream big beyond sports, dream big beyond music, whatever you see as perhaps a limitation, to dream bigger. And so for me, I always want people to feel like that if I have a platform, if I have a space to encourage them to be better, that I can do that. So I want my legacy to be that, an encourager and a person who empowers.
Awesome. Well, good. Well, thank you so much for taking the time out to spend with us. This has been amazing to get a little bit more in-depth understanding of who Jonathan Martin is. It's always a pleasure to kind of talk to people and understand what they do outside of what we know them as, right? As a journalist, as someone that's always on 11 Live News and bringing it, because I always looking at 11 Live. I say, let's see what Jonathan does.
I appreciate you. Thank you, man. Thank you for, we need it. Thank you.
Absolutely. But